Hey guys, Brockshield here, starting this video off in BWL, where Stylene's Impending Scarab is on GDKP bid. I'm very interested in this trinket because the ability to increase your block chance, as well as the block value of your shield, I felt was a very useful trinket in the higher level dungeons where the lifesteal effects of Brockshield aren't as relevant as the damage mitigation. And for those players who tank, Stylene's Impending Scarab is one of the best tanking trinkets you can get in the game. So, for 1,000 gold, going once, going twice, and it looks like Splub just missed the deadline. So I'm very lucky to not have to continue to bid against him. And thank you to everyone in the Sentinels Guild, Grumple and Bumbalo here, for being so nice and allowing me to join in on your GDKP run and pick up this excellent trinket. Thank you again. After this, we're heading over to LBRS with our trio to see what it's like to test out this new trinket in one of those higher level dungeons. Of course, everyone being very nice and supporting one another. So this was always cool for me because one of my favorite videos of WoW Hobbs in his TBC days back over a decade ago now, his pulls in LBRS. Very beautiful dungeon aesthetically, and very cavernous and mazy dungeon as well. And by the time you get up to this level in the Blackrock Spire area, LBRS is a little different of a dungeon than some of the other ones for its, I think, unique mob style. I mean, these Scar Shield Legionnaires in particular are some of my favorite mob designs in all of the game. Just a standard orc in a full gray/silver armor, and that nice broad shield that they have is very distinguishable along with their large size and plate mail. It looks very nice and is a very cool design, and just goes to show how much love and beauty the game designers put into the game so long ago now. The one thing I do want to draw attention to here is the greater level of mob abilities we're seeing here versus something like BRD. Not only are we getting things like arcane bolts and things like that, you also saw one of the mobs tried to counterspell Brockshield. And fortunately I wasn't casting a channeled spell, or they'd have locked me out of my spell school. So I'm fortunate not to be locked out. And that's very important because these mobs take a long time to down. A noticeably lot longer of a time than in Blackrock Depths. For example, in Blackrock Depths, the pulls won't last as long as you would think. By the time I started running some of these pulls here, it made me realize, as you see me here get counterspelled, and frantically on my other account jumping my tunes into place. It just makes you appreciate how the mob scaling works in this game. In BRD, the pulls are over maybe in a matter of 30 seconds. But here the pulls take longer, and the mana bars of our characters actually deplete a lot more. You'll see just the sheer number of healing and blizzard spells that Daenerys and Parmenion respectively will cast is quite a bit. It does take quite a bit of effort to three-man any part of LBRS, and so that's something that I think is really cool because it took a long time to build these characters up to this point, and I'm very grateful to have experienced that firsthand here. You can see here it's rare for Parmenion's mana bar to be expended, especially in comparison to BRD, for example. There, he just never has to worry. But in LBRS, he is facing mana problems. And same with Daenerys. You see here Daenerys' Parmenion had to cast Evocation, and even still, even with Evocate, he's not exceptionally great on mana or anything. And there it is, another beautiful pull completed there as well. This pull was nice because of the angle and trying to how to round up the mobs. I enjoyed it. Guess I thought wiser of it and decided not to pull an exceptional amount of mobs there, as I was starting to realize that the pulls are taking so long to complete that it's just not worth it. And you see they also throw those summoning rifts down that draw more mobs in later. There are a lot of tactics involved as you start to deal with these spellbinders and warlocks that make them very different than some of the more simple dungeons in terms of the mechanics as you start to go lower in levels. For example, one of the dungeons that comes to mind immediately is Shadowfang Keep. If you've seen my Shadowfang Keep video, I talk about how there are really no mechanics that stop a paladin from dominating the dungeon. There really aren't any mobs that slow you down or are strong enough to stand in your way. So point blank, you can pretty much run over everything. Unfortunately, in LPRS, it's just not the case. So because of the higher strength level of these mobs, along with their higher base level period, the mobs become that much more resilient. And it's always a good test. So hoping for a couple more good pulls in here, as eventually it's going to become a little difficult for me as a lot of the magic mobs start to cast abilities that make it not cost efficient to remain in the dungeon. And by that I mean, for example, in Dire Maul North, the most difficult Dire Maul, if I pull even 3 or 4 of those ogres at once in a 3-man group, I have trouble with the multi-box, because each of the ogres is just pulling in so much damage that it adds up to a lot. And so here I started to realize that I was hitting that wall at that level 55 level, and now I need to think better of it rather than to just stubbornly push through the wall. Just accept that at this point these mobs are going to become more resilient, and that this content was beautiful as is. As we move here towards the closing of the video, I want to say thank you again for watching. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, as it greatly helps the channel. Light be with you all. Take care, and thanks again.